Do you regard yourself as an AIDS activist?
Well, I was an activist, but in a different kind of way. I think I was very active in trying to develop effective public policies, of trying to develop the resources that were required, or to mobilise the resources that were required, and very active in trying to explain to the general population what the issues were, what the facts were, and to differentiate between the rhetoric and the reality.
This alliance that took place between scientists, doctors, activists, people living with HIV, celebrities, how do you describe that? Together, when it came together, it was quite powerful.
Yes, it was very powerful. It wasn't always easy, and people brought to it their own particular agendas and their own particular perspectives. But by and large, it worked very well. We were blessed at that time because there were some exceptionally fine leaders of the gay community, and there were one or two journalists, gay journalists, who were influential in the gay media in Australia, who took an extremely balanced, intelligent and reasonable position and were very important in educating the community. But we spent endless amount of time talking.
Do you think that HIV/AIDS has paved the way for science in a broader perspective?
Yes. There's no doubt that in the same way that sending men to the moon created a whole lot of enabling technologies that have had huge benefits for mankind, the basic knowledge that has been generated in the study of HIV has had enormous spin-off effects, nowhere more greatly than in the generation of huge new generations of antiviral chemotherapeutic agents, which are immensely powerful.
Right now, what's going on with the AIDS vaccine research in the world and Melbourne's positioning?
It's a very interesting and exciting time in AIDS research, because after the failed clinical trials of the last few years, people went back to the drawing room and drawing board and asked themselves, how would you ideally design a vaccine if you were going to do it? And people began to think that if you were able to develop a vaccine that elicited broadly neutralising antibodies, that would give you the best chance of having an effective vaccine. And so people asked themselves, how can we try and stimulate broadly neutralising antibodies? And there's a long story, but a group that I've been closely associated with, the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, put together a consortium of the best scientists in the world with the best people doing field research, and they were able to come up with a whole series of extremely powerful and potent broadly neutralising antibodies that which will neutralise strains of virus from all around the world. So the challenge now is to take that structural information and try and design antigens or epitopes which will stimulate the same response in man. And there's a huge program with a significant support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation now going on to try and solve that problem. I think if we are able to do that, that is, that it's possible to design and synthesize epitopes that stimulate broadly neutralising antibody, that will be an extremely promising candidate vaccine.